Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekend update for March 17th, 2024. So happy St. Patrick's Day. Anyway, so this week was a really long week at work. I don't know what, it was just long. There's nothing bad about it. It was just long. The weather changed completely for this weekend. Friday was pretty nice too. We're really sunny, kind of a fall spring for Oregon, so I don't really trust it. But I had a really great day yesterday. On Saturday, my parents came up and we had kind of a technology day. My mom upgraded her phone and got an iPad, and then I got the Apple Watch that came with it. So we're all and then my brother helped my dad get his laptop that he just bought up and running, and so we got all this stuff. I'm not wearing the Apple Watch yet because I need to buy a different band for it. The band that comes with it is plastic, and I can't have that on my wrist. I'll break out anyway. So I bought a different one, so that'll come in the next day or so. So anyway, and then we went wine tasting, and I brought some wine home. It was really nice. It was a really nice day. I crashed after that, so no reading was done later that day, but it was still a good day overall. So I read quite a bit this week. It's kind of all over the place kind of reading, but I did get a lot of stuff done and a lot of library books checked off to get out the door, because I had quite a few that had come in the last week and I hadn't been reading them, because I finished my March of the Mammoth primary read, which was the Brontes. Wild Genius on the Moors, The Story of a Literary Family by Juliet Barker. So I am so glad that I focused on this and I took the time to read it. There was so much information in there. I think this is a great biography on them. I mean, it really spans their lives and all the stuff that we do know, or what we can figure out from stuff. But it was also very much, it wasn't guessing on a lot of things. She was really good about going off with evidence that she had from all the sources that were available to her. And again, we don't know a lot about Emily and Anne in a lot of ways, because a lot of their stuff has been lost. But we have so many letters to deal with Charlotte, and a lot of writings from all of them that we do have and stuff. So, and then just public record of stuff that happened during their lifetime. So I think this is a really great book. Overall, I think it was fantastic, and letting you know about the Brontes and getting past all the myths and all the misconceptions of stuff. I felt so bad for the father, Patrick, because of how he was portrayed by Elizabeth Gaskell and some other people, just because they didn't know him and they went off of really bad rumors and didn't even talk to him very much. And I felt so bad for him. He was, I think, it was really sad, the way that he was portrayed, and some of the other people. And then some people I didn't realize were going to have kind of a twist of how they kind of weren't all that nice of people by the end. I thought it was really interesting. But mostly, again, my problem, these are real people and they do things you don't agree with what their decisions are. Charlotte still will never be like somebody that I think I could have got along with. The things that she thought, not everything, I don't know, there's something about her. And again, I like her writing. Again, I said, I do want to reread Jane Eyre, hopefully later this year, just to kind of read it again. And I want to read Agnes Grey again, because those are the ones that after reading this, those are the ones I want to revisit right away. Because the rest of them I all read in the last couple years. Those ones I read earlier. So I kind of want to reread those. But anyway, I really enjoyed this for a Mammoth. I thought it was 979 pages of the main text. And then there was like 200 pages of notes. So, I mean, this is a really well done biography, and I definitely recommend it if you want to know stuff about the Brontes. I think I kind of got tired of, and kind of got a lot, not really lost, but just kind of tired of a lot of the juvenilia things about that, because there just was too much of it. I think I know it was a lot of their childhood, and a lot of their writing isn't that, but it was a lot of it. I think that was the only time I was kind of really struggling with this book early on, but then after that, it was so heartbreaking in certain parts, and what happened and with each of them. It was sad, and it was really good to get the whole story, like the real story, instead of the kind of stuff we get here and there that are based off of the rumors and myths around the Brontes, especially stuff at the end of Charlotte's life and like afterwards and things that came out. And again, I'm not sure I want to read The Life of Charlotte Bronte by Elizabeth Gaskell after reading this because of how much she probably got wrong, but I do kind of still want to read it because I own it. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm not going to read it probably for another year or two. I probably will give myself a break before I read that, just because this was so intense. This was definitely a book that I recommend, but also know that take your time with it. I had to buy the ebook as well. I mostly read this on my Kindle because this was just too heavy of a book to hold on to. It's 979 pages with 200 pages in notes. It's a heavy book. And as much as it's really pretty and, you know, it's got the flop, like, don't get me wrong, like, it would hold open, but I didn't want to sit at a table or at my desk to read this, and my cats won't let me have anything on my lap because that's their spot. So I bought the Kindle version, and that was definitely worth the money. Again, I kind of bought this twice, but anyway, I have this, or I finished this now, and I'm really glad for my first March of the Mammoth is complete. Again, that is readathon done every March. Sorry, my cat's making noises. Stop. That's done by Jason at Old Blues Chapter and Verse. And again, I've taken part every year. I've not completed a mammoth every year, but this year, this was the first one I wanted to tackle, and I'm so glad I got that done because it was just going to be a hard one because there's no audiobook that I could find. So I had to read it either physically or electronically. So, and I'm glad I did that. So that was pretty much the first part of my week. I didn't do, I kind of had stopped listening to audiobooks, and I'd stopped reading other things because I wanted to just get that book done. And so I did have a meltdown, I think on Tuesday, where I couldn't read anything, because I was just so, I did listen to one of my audiobooks because I had to just do something else because had been reading that book so intently for so many days. But Wednesday was the day I finished the Brontes. So it was a good read. I'm glad I did it. One of the audiobooks that I picked up afterwards was Micro Joys, Finding Hope, Especially When Life Is Not Okay by Cindy Spiegel. So this is just a short audiobook that was on looking for small joys that is in your life, even if everything is going wrong. So she talks about some deaths in her family and how even though they were it was like the worst time of her life dealing with those deaths and things that, was going through that, she would there would be certain instances where you just would have to smile and go, well, that was this small little moment was, a brightness in this dark, in the rest of the darkness and stuff. So she does a lot of vignettes of different moments in her life. And then at the end, she would say, well, think about, next time you walk, or if you're outside, look around your surroundings and see if there's anything that catches your eye and just look for the joy in the moment kind of thing. I don't have a good example anymore. It was fine. It was not like anything life-changing for me. It was just a nice way to look at it. I picked this up because I'm in a writing workshop that actually ends tonight, but we've had it since January. And it's been really fun talking to other people about writing and journaling and stuff. And one of them brought up this book. And so a lot of us read it just because we talked about it. So that was definitely one of the audiobooks I got from Libby to listen to. And then I listened to Grimoire of the Lamb by Kevin Hearn. This is, I think is it 5.5? I don't remember. No, I think it's a different number. I think it's earlier okay. So it came out though, I think between 5 and 6 in the books. It was printed, but I think it takes place before, I think it's 0.7. I'm not positive in the series, for the Iron Druid series. So this again is, Atticus, who is a 2,000-year-old, Druid, and he, all of the urban fantasy adventures that he goes through has to do with mythologies from different parts of the world. This one takes starts with an Egyptian book that somebody comes to buy, and then he won't buy it, sell it to them because there's something kind of weird going on, and then the guy steals it. And then he has to go to Egypt to try to get this book back or to destroy it because it's a really bad book that he didn't know about. And he has these funny things that happens with other Egyptian gods and mythology, like Bast. The scene with the cats is great. Anyway, point is, it was just a fun short novella. I think it was like 64 pages. So it wasn't very big. I don't think it's like important to the main story. It was just a nice little episode that we got, and again we got to see Egyptian mythology. So, and that was something new because we hadn't seen that before. So anyway, I really enjoyed that. I then read a few graphic novels. The first one was one that I bought this week, and then I had heard about it by Alona Andrews. Is the first book in the Innkeeper Chronicles, Clean Sweep. So this is volume 1. So this is by about half of the Clean Sweep, the novel. Sorry, my throat is getting dry. So this is was a really great adaptation. There's some slight differences. We're following Dina, who is an innkeeper. But it's an innkeeper for people from all across the universe, kind of thing, like, so other worlds. And something is killing some dogs in her area, and she enlists the help of one of her neighbors, who is not exactly what he seems. And then things start just happening. And it's just a fun kind of sci-fi, urban fantasy kind of cross. I really enjoyed this series. I don't know if they're done with the series. But there've been some, I think there's four books. I don't know. I can't think. But this is again off of the first book. So this is half of that first book. I just love this. It was just so good. The artwork is really, I think, really pretty, or really well done. I really enjoyed it. And it was funny. I enjoyed this. So anyway, I bought it. I read it right away. And again, it was just fun. Some of my library books came in that were graphic novels or of other sort. This one is a manhwa, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, Volume 1. This is the original story is by Sing and Song, and then some other people adapted it. It is a really pretty manga, and it has to do with kind of the end of the world. So this guy has been reading this web novel for like 10 years. And it finally gets to the end of it, and then as soon as that happens, and he has sent some mystery file, suddenly the world is about to end, and it kind of changes to kind of a game-like situation where people have to kill something to survive, and they have a time limit, and there's big creatures taking over or destroying everything. And it's very apocalyptic and very unrealistic in that way, but it was really interesting. So this is one of those ones where I liked it, but I don't know if I want to continue. I'm still looking for a series that I could enjoy and read through. So we'll see. I might get the second one just to see where it goes, because there was some interesting things in here, because the guy who knows what's going on is kind of probably start leading some other people who are to survive. So we'll see how that goes. So I might get the next one from the library. I'm not sure. And then I also read Glasstown, The Imaginary World of the Brontes by Isabel Greenberg. So I got this because I was in the middle of the Brontes, and I remembered that there was this graphic novel on the Bronte kids, their imaginary worlds. And I had read this author's graphic novel, The 100 Nights of Hero. So I was like kind of interested. And this was when it came out. I didn't know anything about the Brontes juvenilia, so I didn't get it from the library. So, but this time I got it, and I got it while I was reading the Brontes, and then I waited a couple days, and then I read it just to see what it was like. And it was really kind of weird. It was an easy read, I guess, because it is a graphic novel. So it has the Bronte kids, but it has the fantasy of the world that they built and the big town, glass town that they created together. And then it kind of talks about how they went in different directions as they grew older. And then there are other points in Charlotte's life that is shown in this book. That not everything is like historically correct, especially after I read the Brontes, the biography. But I think this is still an interesting look at that stuff. It's definitely an interpretation of their juvenilia and stuff. Because again, she's drawing stuff that they wrote about. But I mean, this author, I think takes a lot of liberties with how she puts it together. It's still interesting. It still had some good points. It's just, I didn't love it. I just thought it was good. Like it was interesting, and I'm glad I read it after I read the Brontes. Maybe I should have waited a little bit longer, but I think that was just the time to read it and get it done, because it was weird. It wasn't perfect, but I did like them. I mean, it was good that I got it done then. So, and then the audiobooks that I read, after I finished the Brontes and after I finished the 2 library copies that I had, I did go and went back to the Others series, which I can binge, and I'm in that mood right now. So, I read, on audio by, Alexandra Harris, Anne Bishop's The Others series. So I read Marked in Flesh and Etched in Bone. These 2 are 4 and 5 in the Others series, the main first series of this. And book 4 is the kind of climactic book, and then book 5 is kind of the aftermath of everything that happened in the first 4 books and what where things are going at that point. I just love this series. Again, this is an alternate history urban fantasy where most of North America is controlled by the Others, or the shapeshifters, vampires, and elementals. And there are other wilder things in the wilds. So the wild country anyway. And we are following people who live, in this town called Lakeside, and there are things that they have to deal with when humans start to decide that they do not want to follow the rules. And I just adore this series. Again, it's hard to explain. The characters are just make it. It's funny. It's sad. There's action, adventure, and stuff in there. I just love these books. Anyway, so as I said, I read Marked in Flesh, and I read Etched in Bone, which finished the main series. And then I went on to listen to Lake Silence, which is book 1 in the World of the Other. So it's the offshoot series. This takes place a couple of months after that series. This is a different one because it has different narration style. All those were third person with multi perspectives, or multi limited. I don't know. This one is has one character, Vicky, who is first person, who has this resort that she got in a divorce settlement, and she's trying to get it ready to have people come and rent. And it's really close to where the Others are, and the Others are watching everything that she does. And so she's getting ready for this, and then her ex-husband decides that he wants the property back, and it's kind of their fight for that property and how it goes, and her getting closer to the people who live in the town of Sproin, which is really close, on Lake Silence, which is where her resort is. I really enjoy this. It's just a different flavor to the Others series. This is just, as I said, this is the World of the Others, so it's still connected. It's just a slightly different kind of take on stuff, and it's different, but I still really, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I listened to that, and I finished that for this morning before I came to film. So let's talk about what I'm in the middle of. I have one more graphic novel, I think, out right now from the library. This is Watership Down, the graphic novel by Richard Adams, adapted and illustrated by James Sturm and Joe Supine. So I read Watership Down, I don't know, 10 so years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. And I really enjoyed it. It took me a really long time to get to it. It always intimidated me. I know it was just a bunny on the cover, but it did. But this one's a really pretty graphic novel with the rabbits. Oh, what I dropped my... I know where I was. Anyway, Anyway, so this, you know, has to do with the rabbits and something, one of them has premonitions that something bad is going to happen if they don't get out of there. And it's their adventure to find a new home kind of thing. I don't know. They claim, I think this is middle grade or YA. I don't know if I would claim that. It's really brutal in some parts, but it's about rabbits. Anyway, so, hold on. Another drink. Sorry. But I really did, enjoy it when I read it, the book. I've been running to reread it, but I saw that graphic novel had come out for it. And I thought, oh, I'll just read it that way this time. And then next time I can read it physically again. Anyway. So, what I'm going to read is I am going to try to get back to The Way of Kings. This is my next, March of the Mammoth book that I want to get done. I've read, I said 400 pages of 1100. I have 200 more pages in this book and then 500 in the next book. So I would really like to get this done before the end of the month. We'll see how that goes. Now, especially after I bought the new, Brandon Sanderson editions. If you saw my video on my book haul, I did get those really pretty Dragonsteel books. But this is one of the ones I haven't finished. So, and I do want to finish this for my Mammoth because I do want to start getting into this series because the 5th book is coming out this year. I'm not going to make it for the 5th book. I'm almost sure I'll be partway through the series, but I just have to make some progress. So I really want to get back into this. And again, this is one of the books that was kind of hurt by my whole house having the water break. So I want to get back to this and finish at least this book this week. I would like to be partway into the next book. I'm going to try to do an hour a day. I have the audiobook and again the physical. So I want to do an hour listening and reading along. So if I want to tab it up, because I do have, I don't know if you can see that, I have some tabs. So, because again, it's a big series, I want to try to remember most of it. And then, so we'll see what happens. So I do want to get back to that this week. I don't know how far I'll get this week, but I want at least, next week might be the week that I really get into it and I read more of it. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I am probably going to binge the next 2 books, the last ones that I have of the World of the Other series, Wild Country and Crowbones. This one goes back to one of the cities that was talking about it, that was in the wilds. And oh, this is a brutal book, and I'm excited to see how I feel on my second read of this, because I think of all of them, this was one of my least favorite books, not because of how it was written or anything, not like that. It was just because it hurt me so much of what happened in here, because I wasn't expecting the direction this one went. Anyway, and then Crowbones was the newest one that came out a couple of years ago. So I read these last year for the first time. So this is my first reread of these. And so I'm looking forward to the reread of this. This one continues back with Vicky and the resort at on Lake Silence. So anyway, I'm looking forward to doing those rereads. And then I have one more library book that I would like to get to, and that is Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, book 2 in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. So I do have this for another week. I have to turn it in on Sunday, so I do need to read this. So again, it's not very long. It's only about 330 pages, so I think I can get this done sometime this week. So that's my hope. This is, again, historical fantasy where there's a world where people know about fairies and other kind of things. And Emily Wilde has in the first book is looking to finish her encyclopedia of fairies, and she goes to this island, and things don't go the way she expects it to, and the adventure happens more when her coworker or another professor, Wendell Brambleby, I don't know how I'm gonna say his name, he shows up and things happen. And this is, I think a little bit like, I don't know if it's a year or 2 later. I'll have to check timeline. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to that before I have to turn it back into the library. So I need to read it this next week. And then the only book I have that I might read for March Mystery Madness is I have the audiobook from the library for Still Life with Crows by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. This is the Pendergast series. I read the first 4 books years ago. I read the first book, Relic, whenever that movie came out for it. Was that in the 90s sometime? Anyway, there's at one point I reread that one, and I read Requiem, and then I read Cabinet of Curiosities, and there was one more. I read one more. I know I read the first 4. I'm pretty sure this is book 5. I don't remember what the other one was. Anyway, I know I think I read one more. Maybe this is book 4. I don't remember what it is. Point is, this is the next one I have to read in the series. And I did start this many, many years ago, but I got it from the library and I never finished it. So I had to turn it back in, and then I never got back to it. At the time it was popular, so I didn't get back. Anyway, I picked up this copy used at some point to get back into the series. And I never did. And I don't know who mentioned this series recently. I've been watching so much BookTube, I can't even think, but I'm sure it has to do with March Mystery Madness. And somebody mentioned the Pendergast series, but I don't remember who was talking about what book. But this is the one I need to read next. So I do have this on. This is one of the books I have of theirs on my shelf. Maybe it is book 4 because I have the other 3. I don't know. Anyway, point is I need to read this one. So I don't know. I know this is there's a Kansas. There's a killer out in Kansas, and that's about all I remember about that one. So that might be my March Mystery Madness pick for this next week, because I kind of put that on the side to finish the Brontes. So now I'm going to try to insert a few more mysteries before the end of the month. We will see what happens. So that's it. I don't know. I feel like I forgot something, but oh well. I think I got all my reading stuff done though, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next week. What are you guys reading? Which readathons are you taking part in? I know there are so many. This month was really hard. I always pick these 2 because these are the ones I've been participating in since like the beginning. Earlier in my BookTube channel. So I've been doing these for years, and so these are the ones I always look forward to doing. And so I would like to get at least a few more mysteries, and I'd like to get at least one more Mammoth done, but we will see what happens. I'm not going to guarantee anything. You never know with being a mood reader. And all I want to do right now, again, as I said, is start binging these. And so we'll see how that goes today. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.